Now, what's this? I mean, this is something that probably should terrify you. I'd say yes. Should, yeah. I mean, if you want to really stick your finger in the air and see which way the wind is blowing, there's this. Woo! France. Yes, it's France. Soldiers may open fire if lives at risk in yellow jacket protests. Paris, says Paris military general. That's right. If lives are at risk, shoot some members of the public dead. I mean, how are lives going to be at risk? We're not sure. I mean, French protesting is a lot different to other protesting. One thing you can say about the French is they sure know how to fucking have a party in the streets. That's right. We're going to raise your fuel by 1 cent. No, let's burn the streets and firebomb all the parliaments. Like the French, for many years, the French have shown all of us up in levels of outrage on the streets. And the French don't want a law to happen. They really let you know about it. It's the French, man. The French are they're titans when it comes to angry protesting. Is the French. You may admire it, you may be scared of it. Who knows? Whatever suits you. So plans to have military on guard outside public buildings has sparked political debate and raised concerns the soldiers do not have the right training or weapons for this activity. Now, when they say, the right training or weapons, as in, when dealing with crowd disbursement, soldiers are more trained to, go to war and kill. So, yeah, Soldiers mobilised for Saturday's planned Yellow Jacket protest will operate under strict instructions. Now, just a word of advice to anybody thinking of starting a protest movement from now on. Could you stop having little tropes that people could latch onto and just go, oh, these are bad people? Just stop doing it, because every time you wear anything or do anything or call yourself something, then the whole media just pounces on it, and they just use it as something to use against other people. And then it becomes, oh, look, here comes a tirade of God knows who, these fuckers. So stop doing this kind of thing. If you're going to do it, just go out regular, just go out regs and go, who are you? We have no name. Just give it a try. Might save us a lot of hassle. So they could open fire if their lives or the lives of civilians are threatened. If their lives are threatened, General Bruno Le Ray, military governor of Paris, said Friday. They have a military governor of Paris. Do we have such a thing in this? Do we have a military? I don't know. Several thousand soldiers from Opération Sentinelle, a French military operation deployed following the January 15 Ile-de-France attacks, will be stationed outside numerous official. Is that like the terrorist attacks? Is that true? I can't remember. During Saturday's demonstration, the 19th weekend of street protests by the broad anti-government movement. 19th weekend. They go hard and they don't go home. In a radio interview, Leray said the military has been given strictly fixed instructions, but could go as far as to open fire if lives were under threat. The orders will be clear enough so that they, the soldiers, do not have to worry. Well, you wouldn't be worried when you have strict instructions that you can shoot people. Leray said in response to one anonymous member of the military called into the radio show, noting that Operation Sentinelle soldiers do not have the same protective equipment as the CRS, General Reserve of the French National Police. Right. I mean, are these protesters bringing guns? The plans to have soldiers on guard outside several buildings have prompted a political debate and raised concerns among the military that they do not have the necessary training and arms to carry out the level of policing required. But they want more arms. This is again astonishing. We need more. We need more weapons. Jesus Christ. My subject is not a political one, Leray said when asked whether the purpose of his rare public address was to warn non-violent protesters to stay away from the demonstrations, which have regularly degenerated into violence. Now, I don't know what you call violence degeneracy. I don't know why you'd say such a thing. The subject of the soldiers is to continue the fight against terrorism one day at a time, as they've been doing for 4 years. So now I suppose, I mean, this is a precedent set, isn't it? Really, okay, saying like, you know, you can count anti-government protesters now who are just upset about the rise of fuel prices, and now it's like becoming like, what is that statement like? The subject of the soldiers is to continue the fight against terrorism one day at a time, as they've been doing for years. All right, so I mean, I don't know, you know, it's taken out of context or whatever, but it's like, it's just a worrying thing to see that the government powers in France would be like, yeah, just you know, if you think you're under threat, just shoot them. I mean, protesters are annoying, to say the least. They're fucking annoying. They are. If you're a protester, you're annoying. Everyone's had enough of protesters. But I think to go around shooting them, it's just a little bit worrisome. Like I said, I always said, if I see little things of, this, that, this, that all point towards some kind of bad future tyrannical takeover by government. You know, just little things where it's like, we're going to do this now, we're going to do that now, we're going to do that now, we can do that now. I'm going to, you know, examine it and be like, all right, here's another indication of lunacy to come. You know, I mean, if they reverse Brexit, what the fuck do you think's going to happen? And then, what sort of powers are they going to give, you know, the police, the armed forces? They're going to send the armed forces in. I mean, Jesus Christ. Because that's like a proper betrayal. Because, I mean, it's still democracy when people have voted. And it's still a ludicrous thing to say, but they don't know what they were voting for. But did you know what you were voting against? And also, like, how many times has anyone known what a political party actually stands for when they're voting for them? And they say, we're going to change this and we do this. And they don't. It's like, hello, do you know how this works, you idiots? So what does it matter? They were sold it on a lie. Well, what was the lie exactly? We're going to leave the EU. Okay. I mean, what was the, and what were the truths told to stay? You know, I guarantee you don't want to be seeing. I mean, we're seeing stuff. You know, what's happening in New Zealand is just getting a bit fucking, just like they're going a bit OTT with a lot of stuff, like jailing people for sharing videos for like 14 years, and like there's all kinds of stuff. And then you got just this sort of, just going to shoot protesters. I mean, admittedly, in France, you know, they do go fucking heavy. Like, you know, they do, you know, they always have done. Every time there's a protest in France, there's like setting fire to cars and fucking going mental. So I don't see what, like, they're kind of used to this, aren't they? I mean, why are they going to start shooting people? It's France. It's a protest. Of course it's going to get out of hand. It's what they do. But it's interesting because it's the yellow jacket protesters, and, you know, the orders will be clear so they don't have to worry. I don't know. I just look at it and go, ooh. Soldiers may open fire if lives are at risk in yellow jacket protests. Like, open fire. Right, what happened to just using, you know, rubber bullets, hoses, tear gas? Like, that's the usual stuff that disperses people. Why? I mean, what are they armed? Have they got guns? I mean, what the fuck are they doing? What are they actually doing that's different to others? I know nothing. Like, are they armed? Are they shooting people? Like, why all of a sudden you're going to start shooting protesters in a country that fucking always has out-of-hand protests? Yeah, I don't know. It's unsettling, isn't it? Now, this is something